stuck.
No, it's not for the faint-hearted.
Why do all the girls now? Good afternoon, South Africa, and a very warm welcome to you. My name is Jeannie D, and this is Afternoon Express. How are you, Bambezo?
I'm very good, thank you. Just before the start of the show, Jeannie and I were practicing our stank faces. Can you show me your stank face?
No, I'm going to do it for you during the interview because we're discussing a whole lot of music vibes today on the show.
Exactly.
Today's show is dedicated to a homegrown genre that became so much more than just music. Kwaito originated in the 90s and grew into one of the biggest musical movements in the country. In the past number of years, the genre has shifted somewhat to the sidelines as newer genres like trap took the front stage.
Yeah, but Kwaito is still going strong, and today we're joined by two legends that have reunited, Mzambiya and Msawawa in the loft, and they have a new album out 20 years after they first arrived on the scene. It was so good to see them walk in. It was just like, I felt like they were my children.
They looked like they were. You're not joking. You're not old. You're not old. You're young and beautiful. We also sit down with Esinako Ndabeni, who co-authored a book called Born to Kwaito, which delves into the socio-political significance of the music genre. We want to know, what is your all-time favorite Kwaito song? Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the official hashtag Afternoon Express, or comment on our Facebook page. Who was yours?
As Focolas next, as Focolas Chesterman. Anyone who loves Kwaito knows that track.
I
and it's
love
one of my favorite tracks.
Remember Tamara Day was the first lady of Kwaito.
No, my love for Kwaito goes back way back. TKZ.
Oh, I love TKZ.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we've got Gary back from Sidewalk Specials, and today she's brought Gray along with him, a one-year-old pup looking for a loving new home.
Now, while their peers were enjoying a regular childhood, our first guests were on the road rushing from one gig to the next.
At the age of 10 and 8, respectively, Mzambiya and Msawawa released their first single in 1998 called Waungaganani. It's been 20 years since, and now they're reunited, older, wiser, and ready to take back their spot on the charts.
All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, my goodness, guys. When I saw you, I just wanted to pick you up and hug you because I felt like you were my kids. But you're actually grown men now.
Actually, yeah.
Grown men, because I grew up watching you. Well, I was older.
I grew up watching Techniques Heart of the Beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way back.
Wow, welcome,
Yeah.
you guys.
Thank you
Lovely
so
to have
much.
you with us.
Yeah.
How did you guys get discovered, and how old were you actually?
All right, I discovered him. I released my debut album in the year '99.
Yeah.
You know, so I was on tour. My very first gig in Durban. You know, so he was there with the other guys. I had never seen anything like that, you know, so they were dancing there. So normally I do my performances alone, you know.
Yeah.
So they were there also for a dance competition or something like that, you see. So I then spoke to his then manager that, you know what, guys, you know, I'd like to take you guys to Joburg. You know, how about I speak to my management and see what we can link up, you see. So I went back to Joburg, spoke to Nimrod and Oscar. Well, they always believed in what I do, you know, so they're like, okay, bring the guys along. And gave them their contacts, the rest is history. They came to Joburg, Msawawa was born.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was born.
But it was obviously
Out of
his
a
amazing
suitcase.
dance
He was
talent.
born out of a suitcase. Do you remember that suitcase movie used to do?
Yes.
Can you
It
still
used to
put
come out
yourself
of the
into
bag.
it?
No. Now I fit in a cooler packs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really, really. Because I can fit in luggage as well, but the really big luggage, I can just can't do it. But what was it about him that you first went, oh my goodness, this guy has to come into it with me?
It built up. It was building up from him being my backing vocalist, and what I used to do normally when I was performing, because I used to do like 45 minutes on stage. So at times you get tired. So I'd give him a mic and say, "Dude, do this," you know, and he would catch up quickly. You know, and the crowd loved it also because I was also young then. He was like 8 or so. I was 10.
He was tiny.
You know?
And he had the sweetest
And-
voice and he used to go, yes, yes, Joe.
Exactly, you know what I mean? So the crowd loved it. the crowd loved it. And then spoke to Nimrod and Oscar, like, guys, you know what, we need to do something, you know. And yeah, man, the guys saw talent. We dropped our first single 20 years ago. It became one of the biggest tracks on his album.
You guys came up at a time when Kwaito was booming. It was the voice of a generation, and you guys were blowing up. I'm sure you made plenty money. You were super famous. What was it like to be at the heart of it?
You know, at first, I can just say it's by the grace of God, you know. At that age, you understand. Like to leave Durban and go and stay in Joburg, you understand, with new parents, you understand. So, that can do that, you understand. And truly speaking, it was very difficult, you know, having to balance school and music, you know, because I had to go to school in the morning. After school, I have to go to the studio. After studio, I have to go and perform and do my homework.
Wow.
You understand? Yeah, but, you know, we were very lucky, you know, to have people like Skadayo, Oscar Mlangen and Nimrod Ghost, because they were always there for us, you know, checking us if we are focused or not.
Yeah.
At such a young age, though, how did your families react to all of your fame and success? And how did you guys deal with it?
Well, with me, I think my family noticed that I preferred music than being a doctor or anything like that. You know. And they were very supportive. You know, I was inspired by guys like Mendoza because we're from the same neighborhood, Mdu and them, you know. So I started going to auditions and stuff. So, you know, I was really fortunate with a family that instilled good principles in me, you know, from the beginning of my music career. And before it even happened, they were there supporting, you know. And like little did we all know that it was going to blow up like that. You know, and when things became so bizarre, they were still a part of the struggle in terms of supporting and stuff, you know. Whenever the challenges came through, they were there.
Now, one of the biggest struggles you guys have had to face is mismanagement of money, really. Whether it's mismanagement of money on your part or actually just being schneid out of your money by contracts or dubious contracts. How have you come through that, and what are some of your biggest regrets?
Oh, well, speaking for myself in that regard, well, we've made a whole lot of money, you know, from the debut album, and I've been really privileged with quite interesting projects, you know, where I would also feature other artists, you know, and all of that, so the tours and stuff. So I think it also goes back to being discovered from dusty streets of Soweto where there's no finance literacy and all of those things. And after that, you're blessed with a whole lot of money, you know, and it's quite challenging. So I can safely say I have lost a bit of money there and there, but I've learned from my experiences. You know, it wasn't that easy. And I've recently been very fortunate with projects where we do finance literacy, where I speak about how I didn't use my money and all that with
What were you guys blowing your money on? Were you just these like young kids, like pre-teen, just left, right, and center?
Well, it was. I bought my family a house at the age of 12 years old.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, you know, so I didn't really. But if I had known more about finances, I think I would have been a billionaire. But
But would you have changed that? Because I think to buy your family a house at 12 is I mean,
It's
that's
beautiful.
insane. That's
Yes,
beautiful.
yes.
It's not like you were rolling around with, you know, fancy
Yeah.
cars and women and...
I was not under pressure. I was only 12 years old.
And
Yeah.
you, mister, it looks like you are making it rain.
No, on my side, my parents were taking care of my money, you know, until I was 18 years,
Yeah.
you know. So when I finished my matric, they sat down with me and said, okay, Mfana, now this is what you have after my matric.
Yeah.
And then I decided, you know, to go back to Durban, you know, to invest in a business. That's when I opened my club. It's called Msawawa's Corner. It's based in Clementine, where I grew up. And then after that, I opened the foundation, you know. So I've been investing into different businesses, you know.
Yeah.
But no, God has been there.
Yeah.
God has been there.
Well, listen, we're really glad that you guys are back. And what can we expect from your new sound now that you are older and more mature, but just as fun?
20 years later, we're dropping a single again because we
And you
just
have a new
felt-
dance.
Oh, yes,
You have a
definitely.
new dance.
We'll teach you a new dance.
You're going to teach us where? Now or at the end? The end?
No, I'm sure he's ready.
Does it involve going up and down really quickly?
No, look, I can fit myself. I want you to teach me how to fit
Quickly,
myself
okay.
into a cooler box. I'm nearly there.
Okay.
It's Himoto ga shuge. Himoto ga shuge.
Okay, that's simple enough.
Himoto ga shuge. Himoto ga shuge. Bacha himoto ga shuge. Himoto
No,
ga.
man, I've got this, man.
You've got it, babes. You've got it.
I'm the second lady
that's
of
simple.
Kwaito.
That's-
I'm the second
yeah.
white lady of Kwaito.
That's
simple, eh?
simple. When you perform later on, I'll join in the dance.
Yes,
Moto ga
please,
shuge.
please. Yes,
Yeah.
and to
Okay,
answer
now
your
Moto ga
question,
shuge.
actually, about the difference compared to the first
Yes.
track and this one, 20 years later, we're back again, reunited. Well, I mean, the collaboration is happening at the very right time. We're celebrating centenary of Bob Mandela, you know, 100 years,
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, I remember back in the day, we were also involved in so much events that he did, you know,
Yeah.
where he was giving back to the underprivileged and stuff. So this comeback is not really about being on stage and jumping up and down. We're also giving back to the underprivileged.
Yes.
I think he
Amazing.
mentioned a little bit about his foundation and stuff,
Yeah.
you see. So there's kids in the rural areas who would love to spend time with us, who would love to buy our music, but they can't afford. So what we're doing now, we're going to them, you know, and doing stuff for them. So that's what this comeback is
awesome.
about. And the track is out on iTunes now, so if
Yeah.
you want the song, you can download it.
That's
It's a
great.
beautiful song, and thank you so much for the love.
Himoto ga
as well.
shuge.
Ah, that's great.
Well, it's lovely to see you guys back again, older and wiser, and just I'm so proud of you. I think everyone in South Africa who watched you guys growing up is watching you and thinking, I'm so proud of them.
you
So
so
20
much.
years since their first single, and they're still going strong. Make sure you stay tuned till the end of the show when Mzambiya and Msawawa perform live. Let us know what's your all-time favorite Kwaito song. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using our usual hashtag Afternoon Express, or comment on our Facebook page.
After the break, we head to the kitchen with guest chef Sue-Ann Allen for Clover Care, Clementine and curd tartlets. And we turn our attention to our furry friends with some pet advice from Whiskers.
Meet the top 10 finalists for Presenter Search on 3. From Cape Town, Zikhona Mda is an actress and voice artist with a passion for yoga and a love for animals.
In high school, I discovered drama and I was like, that's what I want to do. Because I love to entertain people, I love to make people laugh, I like to make them smile, I like to make them feel good about themselves. My favorite movie is The Lion King. Remember who you are. Remember. I want to be a TV presenter because I want to get people talking, get people thinking, get them inspired, opening their minds and opening their hearts. Get a load of this. I am your brand spanking new presenter. Just last week, you saw me become one of 3 very lucky SABC3 Presenter Search winners. I think people want to see me on TV because I'm just like any other girl and I love a good time. I like to have fun. I come across as very serious, but I can be very, very silly. Good morning. It is time to rise and shine. However, if you're like me and you cannot get your day started without a good, strong cup of coffee, you are in for a treat. I spend my moments in between doing yoga or exercising. My favorite pose, I'd have to say, is a handstand, because if you're feeling down and you really just need to get your spirits lifted, go into a handstand, you're ready to go. And that is how you do a handstand.
Catch Presenter Search on 3, Thursday nights at 8:30 and watch the top 10 compete to become one of 3 new presenters on SABC3. The stage is yours.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. It's that time of the week where we turn our attention to our furry friends. And with Baxter growing up so quickly, it is important that we make sure he's getting everything he needs from his diet.
Whiskers, feed their curiosity.
Your cats depend on you to provide them with a healthy, nutritious, balanced diet. And without it, your cat could develop malnutrition, and we all want our fur babies to live a healthy, happy and active life. Nivashini Moodley is here today to share some insight into balanced feeding. Welcome, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So when it comes to Whiskers and pet food, you guys make specific food for a pet's life stage. Why is it important to feed a pet according to their specific life stage?
So basically it's like exactly like how we know having a baby and how we change our food when we have a child, and now we're adults, we eat differently. So it's the exact same thing on cats. When you're a kitten versus when you're an adult cat or when you're a senior cat, you have to adjust your food accordingly to make sure you're getting the right protein, the right amount of fats and carbohydrates that is at that particular life stage. For example, Baxter, so now he is a little kitten and he's very active and he's very playful, so the amount of carbohydrates and proteins as well as fats changes accordingly in order to promote his active lifestyle.
Yes. So why is it important to mix both wet and dry food?
So the most important part about mixing wet and dry food is about giving the cat, because they're carnivores, unlike dogs, they're used to in the wild actually going and hunting and getting their prey in terms of a bird or an insect. So giving wet and dry food is the best way to closely mimic what they're used to in the wild.
Right, yeah. So, and what is a healthy diet for a cat as little as Baxter? What does that comprise of?
So a healthy diet or a healthy balanced diet is really about having wet and dry food. It's also about having it in the right dosages. So for example, you'll need to have 1/3 of their diet to be dry food and 2/3 to be wet food. So a lot of people actually don't know this, but it's really the wet food that is actually you need a lot more of in order for the cat to keep hydrated.
Sure. So why is there such an emphasis on protein when it comes to cat feeding?
So there's been a lot of noise around protein currently, and I think it's not really about the amount or the percentage of protein that's in your cat food that's important. It's more around the quality of the protein. So and when I say quality, what do I mean about that? It's really about how much of that protein is digested by your cat. So how much is actually absorbed into their body. That's what the importance of the protein really is, as in Whiskers wet and dry food.
So Whiskers is committed to providing your cat with all their nutritional needs as it changes throughout their lives. Make sure you're giving your fur baby everything they need to live a healthy and happy life.
Whiskers, feed their curiosity.
All right, now enriched with nutrients that are typically lacking in our diets, Clover Care milk is versatile to use in cooking, baking, or enjoying it just on its own. So today we are using it to make delicious Clementine tartlets that is set to have a very impressive result. Now you have to try this at home apparently, and to do that, SMS Clover to 33650. SMSs cost R1.50 each and no free SMSs apply. Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great.
Good,
and I think that this looks so beautiful.
How pretty are these? And really, really simple to make, which is what I think is the greatest part about it.
Yeah.
You know, people tend to shy away from short crust pastry and doing it at home, but it's really a couple of steps. We've got our great clover enriched milk. We've got clementines. It's like a triple C. Clementines, curd, clover. So these are really cool. Yes, exactly. So I'm going to kick it off quite quickly. We've got 2 types of flours, normal and almond, just to add a difference in texture. And what we're going to do is just add some butter to this and get it. We're going to just kind of get this going until it starts to form a crumb.
Yeah. Why are people intimidated by this kind of pastry?
I think, you know, people are, you know, we tend to buy pastry ready-made. Yeah. And I think we just think that it's something that only patissiers can do, which is not entirely true. You can actually manage at home. So once this starts to all mingle together,
what do you want to throw in?
I'm going to add some egg whites. And now clover milk.
Perfect. You know what the thing is, I think, maybe to baking, is that you just have to stick to the recipe 100%.
It is a science.
There's no veering off.
She says that she's pouring in freehand, but anyway, a little bit of experience helps. And then I've got some that's already made, but I mean, that's literally it. These are your ingredients. Flour, salt, egg whites, your clover milk.
Perfect. And that's for this base?
And that's for the base. So this is your base for your curd that we're going to do.
But this is a great thing to know how to make, because I feel like once you know how to do this, you can put anything in here.
Absolutely. So we're going to top with chocolate ganache, but you can do full just chocolate. I know you and your chocolate. So we can do that. If we had this going for a bit longer, we then turn it out into between 2 pieces of wax paper, roll it out, form it, and then very easily goes into your little grease tins. Which you push down, and just something for the viewers to remember, which we call docking, is always prick your pastry with a fork, because what this does is allow steam to escape while it's cooking. So it doesn't cook unevenly and puff up and burn in parts. And then that would blind bake just to get the cooking process going. And then we take out our beans after blind baking and bake again for another few minutes. And then we're literally ready to add our curd, which is a really simple thing. We've got our clementine juice, we've got lemon juice, honey for a bit of sweetness, just to break the tart, and cornstarch. We get that going in a pan, some eggs that you temper, so a little bit of hot and then back in, and you've got beautiful curd ready to pipe. So once these are done, it literally is as simple as that. We've made white chocolate ganache, also using our clover milk. Chocolate in a bowl, warm milk on top, making a beautiful ganache, and this is where we can get as kind of creative. So Gina, you're gonna
This
you're
base
doing
as
one.
well, it would be the same base for a pie. Hey?
So this would, you could do a large one if you wanted to. So you want to impress the family, they're all coming around for lunch. Makes a beautiful, impressive big one. Same pastry, just put it into your big removable pie tin and you're ready to go.
I think my grandmother is going to be so proud of me right now. Look, I can bake. Oh, that's absolutely
I'm just going to
gorgeous.
decorate and then we'll add some flowers. And it's a perfect, perfect winter dessert. Our clementines are in season, which is really fabulous. So lots of extra vitamin C if anyone's feeling a bit fluish. And you get to treat yourself as well, which I think is fab.
Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. This makes a great tea time treat. And to get this recipe, all you need to do is SMS Clover to 33650. SMSs cost R1.50 each and no free SMSs apply. And if you need a little reminding, here's a quick recap. Oh, this one's ready to bake.
Made with love by Clover.
The topic of today's show is all about the influence of Kwaito on South African culture, and we want to know, what is your all-time favorite Kwaito song? Do tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express, or pop over to our Facebook page and leave us a comment. After the break, we sit down with Esinako Ndabeni, the co-author of a book called Born to Kwaito. Plus, we have another pup from Sidewalk Specials who's looking for a home.
Introducing Clover Care, the first enriched milk packed with nutrients to help you take extra care of your whole family.
Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. If you've just joined us, great timing because we've got some great friends on the couch with us. It's that time of the week where we turn the attention to our fluffy friends who need a warm, loving home. So Gary from Sidewalk Specials has brought the most adorable one-year-old pup, Grey, and he's up for adoption. How are you?
Good, Jenny. Thanks very much for having us on the show. And,
So what kind of dog is Grey? Hi, boy.
Grey is a cross between a husky and street special, a sidewalk special.
Yeah.
He was found a couple of weeks back in Durance, and he had a very bad case of mange and also had quite a serious bout of tick bite fever.
Oh, no.
His family surrendered him to us while we were out in Durance doing a sign-up for a mass sterilisation drive taking place in August. And so we brought him back with us, took him to Vet Point where he was treated for his mange and his tick bite fever. He's completely on the mend now. He's reacting and responding so well to his meds. He's eating again and he's living a very nice, comfortable life now with the foster family. But he's looking for his permanent home and he'll be at the Adoption Day market on Saturday, coming Saturday. He'll be there with a couple of other pups, so I'm sure he'll...
He's honestly got the most beautiful eyes.
Yes, yes. Well, that's the husky in him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Grey.
They almost look like marbles.
You're not allowed to look a dog straight in the eyes, hey?
You're not supposed to. For
Because
them, it's
I
a sign
can't
of,
help it. So
of
what
aggression.
does it mean? Is it?
Yes.
If you look at a
so
dog...
if they're staring each other out, they're sort of being aggro to each other. So if they see you staring at them...
Oh, sorry, no, but I was staring at his eyes just now.
Yeah, well, it's fine in this environment. You're with me, he's with me, so he sort of picks that up.
We're all
But I mean,
good.
if we're in a dark alleyway out in you know, on a rubbish heap where he was found or something, probably wouldn't want to try it.
He is beautiful. He's such a beautiful dog. What kind of family should consider adopting him? Like what environment would be best for Grey?
Because of the husky in him, he'd probably need an outside area as well,
Yeah.
and an active family. Not somebody who's going to sort of couch and veg with him, although he does that quite comfortably as well. But he actually needs the exercise. And if he's in a small environment, he may try and escape. So with breeds like huskies, we're generally quite particular about who adopts them.
Yeah.
Our adoption process is quite strict in that we do full home checks and make sure that the environment is suitable for the animal that is being adopted. If it's not, we won't let the adoption go through and we'll try and recommend a smaller breed or one of the other adoptions that we have in foster.
Because as he grows, his hair's going to start growing.
Yes.
Hey, he's going to fill out quite a
yes.
bit like a proper husky.
Yeah, he will. At the moment, his coat is still a little bit thin because of his mange, but that'll sort of remedy itself quite easily once the course of medication is finished, and also once he's on a regular, stable diet. And he'll be a completely different dog, you know, in a 3 months' time, sort of thing.
Does he have any specific nutritional needs?
At this stage, no. The medication that the vet gave him is taking care of his mange and that, and it's just sort of regular food and something balanced, as opposed to just sort of feeding off scraps that he's been looking for, and you know, where we found him on the rubbish dumps.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very lucky family that's going to get Grey, because
I think so as well.
I think as he starts filling out, he's going to be a beautiful husky pup.
Yes. And also he responds well to people as well. And you know, even just in the studio today, the people he's been to talk to and that, he's just sort of he's getting on well with people, and he's going to be great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
bringing
us,
a pup.
Thank you.
They're cute, they're cuddly, and they're TV stars. Baxter and Donut, the adorably fluffy four-legged members of the Afternoon Express family, are sharing their daily adventures on social media. To see what Baxter and Donut get up to behind the scenes, follow the adventures of Baxter and the adventures of Donut on Instagram.
Now, one can't deny the influence that Kwaito music has had on the millennial generation. From fashion to street culture, Kwaito has a huge social significance in South Africa.
Now, Esinako Ndabeni is a writer and co-author of Born to Kwaito, a book about the meaning of Kwaito music today. It's a collection of essays that tackle the changing meaning of the genre after its decline and its over-contestant relevance.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's every party. She's mixed a cholo wemnandi. Ayewen, ayela. Ubano patu skupu sanga bella, hula pala fala. Hareba pala, lebana, abarun. Ayewen, Harrieta so. Warrieta so. Harrieta so.
welcome to the show. Fantastic having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, one can't help but notice that, I mean, Kwaito was kind of like very much our generation, and we listen to, but you are only...
I would even say it wasn't even just our generation.
Yeah.
No one had seen anything like it,
Exactly.
right?
But now, I mean, I've read a bit of this, and I cannot believe the maturity of your style of writing and the topics that you've tackled. And you're 21 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
So, well done.
Thank you.
I mean, this is outstanding work.
Thank you.
Really. What was your... Why did you want to do this?
Well, firstly, Kwaito was the soundtrack to my upbringing.
Yeah.
So you are right to say that it was not a my generation thing.
Yeah.
But it was looking back and realizing that I never had the time to reflect on Kwaito as something that has socio-political meaning.
Yeah.
So I was like, it would be good to go back to do that thing and to write about it, because it was the first thing that the youth said after apartheid. So what are the kids saying? What do they want?
Yeah.
What are they not happy with? So I thought that was such an important thing that was kind of poorly archived that I wanted to contribute to.
It was absolutely poorly archived. And for a phenomenon that shaped so much of our social and our cultural narrative today, or youth culture, why is its relevance so contested?
Well, I think, like I said, it was the first thing that the kids were saying, and Kwaito had this thing called a party politic. So kind of the panic that came from politicians was, these kids are partying, we just came out of apartheid, we have work to do, and these people are just partying. And that was always, I remember with Boom Shaka, they did a remix of the national anthem. Well, I don't remember because I was young.
Yeah.
But they did a remix.
I remember.
of the national anthem, and kind of politicians were up in arms because they thought we had work to do that Kwaito artists were not doing, which they were, but it was kind of a differently articulated politic that was not reaching the older people.
So did the book come about first, or were you, like, because you've got a blog as well, so were you just kind of piecing together ideas through your blog and then sit down to put the collection of stories together in the book?
So my blog, Don't Call Me Kafir, was the first thing that started. And for me, I actually wanted to do Kwaito as my honors program next year, because during my final year, supposed to be. But then what happened was that I thought, okay, in the meantime, let me just try to do my research. And then the blog came about, and then my co-author, Sihlem Tembu, was like, let's do a book now.
Yeah. So in your research, because I mean a book like this, as you say, is an archive and like a memorialization of Kwaito. Okay. So where did your research take you? Who did you speak to? And what are some of the things you uncovered on the way where you realized, oh my gosh, I can't actually leave out this aspect of it?
So how we did our research was that we primarily consulted the archive, because you can't just go speak to people when you don't have an idea of what you want to say. So it was Y Magazine, Drum, and Next magazines. Those are our big magazines. And then we're in conversation with people like Mandla Spikiri, Budwandin Zimando, co-founded Lokshan Culture, Lance Ster of Ghetto Rough, Mapapudzi, the works.
Yeah.
And, sorry, what was the other question?
Don't worry. So I was saying, what are some of the like surprising places that your research took you that you realized, oh my gosh, I can't believe I nearly overlooked this?
So I think the most important thing about Kwaito is that it's played out as this poverty politic, right? As something that comes out of the township. But one thing that was very interesting was realizing how Kwaito leaves the township, because it's people who use Kwaito as this economic tool to make money, and then people go and they start record labels in Midrand. So it was very interesting speaking about this township genre in suburbia. So that was the one thing, because it was also a narrative that matters, that this was an economic tool of mobility that people used.
Yeah. And how easy was it to find some of the artists and people behind the scenes of that time as well? Because I know a lot of them are late, and some are, you know, they're all over the place. So how hard was it to find them? And who was the most interesting interview?
It was easy when it was. It wasn't when it wasn't.
Sure.
Some people, because my co-author Sihle is a journalist already, so it was a matter of, hey, I need to speak to this person. Do you have a contact? So I was able to tap into some people. But then some other people was just, there are interviews that I would have liked to have that I did not have, because people were sometimes not willing to speak, and sometimes you couldn't reach people. But my favorite interview was Mandla Spikiri, because he is he's a king, Don Father, and he was the most gracious person I'd ever met, and he was so humble, and he's older than my father, but he was there calling me Sisi, and it was such a great experience to be welcomed by someone like that.
I mean, for me, when I look back at like the hallway of Kwaito and its evolution, some of the saddest things to witness was how many casualties it took with it. And who are some of the people that whose loss you mourn? I can't speak today, sorry.
Well, the biggest loss, obviously, is Mandoza, because that was a person who also, outside of the music that he made, he stood for so much that it was like, that was a big loss that everybody felt. And for me personally, I have this connection with Makendlas's song Iminwe, because I have a late uncle that I never met. Well, I did, but when I was younger, he died in 1998, and I was born in 97. So that we had that song. So I grew up my whole life just dreaming about this song and this person that I do not remember. So that's another big personal loss for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mendoza is a huge loss.
Yeah.
I mean, Kalakata was probably one of the first major crossover songs.
Oh, wow. Another huge loss that I was too nervous to remember is obviously Lebu Matosa, because she is my feminist icon.
Yeah.
So that, for me to have to go back to the past to remember this phenomenal woman who was breaking so many rules, and I can't access that person anymore.
Lebu broke every single rule.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got many opportunities to just be with her personally, and she just, every time I was around her, I felt like there was nothing I couldn't do. She was an incredible human being.
And just coming from a different generation now, and you get to look to these people and to say, these were the people that came before me.
Who should read this book?
Who should read this book? This book is great because it's a cross-generational conversation.
Yeah.
So the way that we came up with the name, or Sihle came up with the name, but how we rationalized it was that some people, like me, are born into Kwaito. Some people are born to Kwaito as a verb because that's what they did at the time. So it's a nice conversation between my generation, people who are doing trap and hip-hop and whatever, and people who actually did Kwaito. So it's nice to look back as an older person and reflect and say, actually, this is what this thing meant, and in that moment, we were too immersed in it to see, but it's also great for my generation to see lessons, because it's also a reflection. So to see lessons to take from that, to see our pop cultural history, and to kind of move from that moment.
Beautiful.
You
Thank
are
you
incredible.
so much.
You are, oh, you're amazing.
Thank
you're
you
going to
for
do incredible
writing
things
this.
in your life.
Thank you.
So what impact did Kwaito have on you? What's your all-time favorite Kwaito song? Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express. Go over to our Facebook page and comment there.
After the break, we continue the conversation along with our guests, so stay right where you are.
From beef lasagna to creamy macaroni and cheese, Clover the Whistling Chef's high-quality, ready-to-eat meals are made using trusted Clover cheese, milk and cream. It's SA's favorite home-cooked recipes, now prepared and conveniently packed with a variety to choose from. Added to that, Africa's first vac seal technology ensures they're kept fresher for longer for the whole family to enjoy. The Whistling Chef. Heat, whistle, eat, sing. It's as simple as that. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're live on SABC3. Today on the show we've been discussing Kwaito, and we've got some of our greatest legends in the loft. I think I can actually call you guys legends. and author Esinako, who's authored a book called Born to Kwaito. So one thing that's very interesting for me is obviously now we're asking the question, is Kwaito still alive? Has Kwaito evolved? But what do you think are the characteristics that the Born to Kwaito generation and the millennials have in common?
Well, for me, I think the biggest thing is rebellion, because that's what it was this politic of resistance that was happening with Kwaito artists. So a lot of people were refusing to do things that the elders wanted them to do, and they were pushing the envelope. We spoke about Lebu Matosa. So I think that's one thing that our generation has also done very well, to always push the boundaries. We're the babes Wodumo generation.
Right.
We're growing up in that moment. So I think that's the one most important thread, just always rebelling.
Yeah. So would you say the energy is the same? Would you say that the energy that birthed Kwaito and the energy that's prevailing now in the millennial
well, in that regard,
is the
I
same?
can safely say what happens now depends entirely on one's talent. You know, I mean, if you remember, Kwaito became popular at the dawn of our democracy, like she had mentioned earlier. You know, and I think we're talking of a different generation that time. You know, so that's like now we're like 24 years into democracy, right? So we're talking about a new generation now, which we paved the way for. Yeah. You know, your Questas, your Kesper, your Verse, you name them. You know what I mean? So. And if you've noticed, they also remake our songs, some of them. You know, they'll take your lyrics and do it now and all that, you know. So basically, I can safely say if you were there back in the day and you're still available now, what you do depends entirely on your talent, you know what I mean? But then, yeah, I think we've been very influential to what's going on right now.
Wow. And also, I think Kwaito means different things to different people.
Yep.
So what does it mean to you?
To me, Kwaito is a culture. You know, how Kwaito is, you know, I mean, now you find guys wearing suits and doing Kwaito, but there's a certain look that Kwaito portrays, you know, so times have changed, yes, but to me, it's a culture because I was there in the struggle, in the making of it, though I came after your speakeries, your Chiscops, your Mandozas and them, but I've seen it grow from one sphere to the other, you know what I mean? So to me, it's like a culture, hence she's just wrote a book also. I'm sure you can relate to what I'm saying.
I hope you read the book as well.
Are you chuckling there, mister?
No.
What does Kwaito mean to you?
According to me, you know, Kwaito is the mother of music, you know, and Kwaito will never die, you know. Only the tempo it will change, you understand? But Kwaito, yeah, no, it's still there.
Awesome, hey?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It certainly has been super, super fun. And we still got a performance from you a little bit later, which I can't wait for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm going to want to see you dance.
Why does everyone want to see me dance?
It's because whenever I think of what Kwaito means to me, it's definitely you doing that. That's my Kwaito. No, I didn't. That's my Kwaito. We'll be back after the break.
kodwa sephelile amandla wavuka ugobela wendaba athina amadlozi ale ndaba simbi indaba kwampunzi edlemeni uze kodwa uphethe umfoko adlame khula bhekigwe gcwele mani nengi uthi maningi nengi scoop siyashesha khula bhekigwe gcwele mani nengi uthi maningi nengi scoop siyashesha eblekesh emkhumbane Chestavin asiphumele emnyama nasezona emashona eSoweto isigubhu siyashesha eblekesh
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're live on SABC3 now. It's been 20 years since Mzambiya and Msawawa first released Waungaganani, and now they're back with their brand new single, Imoto Kashugela. Yini Imoto Kashugela?
Shuka imoto kashukela imoto ephethe into ezimnandi imoto yamasweet nje so if unoshukela uyazi ukuthi nawo usuku uphetheni.
Okay, cool, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2018 Bulldogs Entertainment Smatlele Sakupindalak Hashtag 20 years later baba Sambi social media bakhulu nzima nje abakhulu Yes Msawawa yo benke ngasho ngathakabe
wavuka amadlozi kwabancane indaba bebathuzi kodwa sephelile amandla wavuka ugobela wendaba athina amadlozi ale ndaba simbi indaba kwampunzi edlemeni uze kodwa uphethe umfoko adlame khula bhekigwe gcwele mani nengi uthi maningi nengi scoop siyashesha khula bhekigwe gcwele mani nengi uthi maningi nengi scoop siyashesha eblekesh emkhumbane Chestavin asiphumele emnyama nasezona emashona eSoweto isigubhu siyashesha eblekesh emkhumbane Chestavin asiphumele emnyama nasezona emashona eSoweto isigubhu siyashesha Ngiwathanda amantombazane ngajela usisi wami ngathi angadlala abafana uthena uma ngiwathanda amantombazane ngajela usisi wami ngathi angadlala abafana ngoba ngithola intombi enhle enegwegwe ungisho intombi enhle enegwegwe uzofele ngibam ngidede wibam ngidede
Afternoon Express. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.